The Warlord's Ruin dungeon released a few days ago, so here's how to beat each encounter. For this dungeon, these are the two most important things to look out for: Taken Blight Eyes and these totems. They're in every encounter and the key to beating them. Shoot the boss to start the first encounter, random enemies will spawn, and once you clear them, each member of your team will get teleported into the cages around the arena. There's going to be 3 blights around every cage. Shoot them to open the cage doors and escape. But if you take too long and the cages reach the top, you'll die. It's easier and faster to shoot the taken eyes around your teammates' cages rather than to shoot your own. Sometimes there's a blight behind your cage your teammates can't get from their angle, so you might have to get that one yourself. So if everyone shoots the eyes adjacent to them, you'll all get out faster. If you look on the left, you'll see the Imminent Wish buff. That's also why you want to get out of the cage as fast as possible. While this buff is active, you want to stand in the radius of the totems to cleanse them. The middle shrinks, and when it turns white, you'll know that it's cleansed. The more totems you cleanse, the longer the damage phase will be. You have until the Imminent Wish buff ends to cleanse as many totems as you can, and once you cleanse the totems, you'll see the Naeem's Wish Empowerment buff appear, and that means it's now time to do damage. But you'll also hear it. It kind of sounds like someone pulling out a sword. It's like a high-pitched metal sound.
Right, yes.
When the damage phase is done, more enemies will spawn, clear them, and then you'll go back into the cages and the process repeats until you kill the boss. If you take too long to get out of the cages and don't cleanse any of the totems, then more enemies will spawn to restart the process, so again, try to be as fast as possible. I'm using Witherhorn and a legendary rocket launcher for DPS, and my Callus mini tool with Incandescent for crowd control. After you kill the boss, you're going to be teleported into 3 cells. Here's a top-down map. Cell 1 is going to have a skeleton on the left, and you're going to see a rock with green scratch marks on it. The person in cell 2 is going to see red scratch marks on the ground, and the person in cell 3 is going to see a lever opposite their cell in front of cell 1. If you ADS and you look around, you'll see these plates highlighted, and if you shoot them, they'll spin. Shoot again and they'll stop, and if you shoot a third time, they'll spin the other direction. The green scratch marks in cell 1 tell you how many plates have to be spinning clockwise. The red scratch marks in cell 2 tell you how many plates have to be spinning counterclockwise. And when you get all of them spinning in the correct direction, the person in cell 3 will shoot the lever, and if done correctly, the gates will open and you can get your loot. Cell 1 will see the plates in front of them above cell 3 and to their left. The person in cell 2 will see plates to the left in the cell next to them and in front of them above cell 3, and the person in cell 3 will see their plates to the left of cell 1 and to the right of them. Once the gates are open, encounter 1 is done. There's 4 fires you have to light in the middle of the courtyard to trigger the damage phase. 2 Scorn bosses will spawn to the far left and right at the back of the area, and 4 solar charges will spawn in the middle, and there's 5 lamps along the outer walls. Those are the locations of all of your objectives. To start the encounter, shoot the taken blight and the boss will spawn with 6 blight eyes hovering above it. Shoot the 6 eyes and the Scorn bosses will spawn in the back left and right with a totem, and they will also drop a totem on their death. While this is happening, a Biting Cold debuff will appear, and when the stacks get to about 8 to 10 if I remember right, you die. To get rid of the debuff, stand close to one of those lamps to get the Shelter from the Storm buff and get rid of your Biting Cold debuff stacks. So you want to run back and forth between the lamps to get rid of the debuff and then running back to cleanse the totems. When the totems are cleansed, you'll see solar charges appear in the middle. Take these and deposit them into the 4 pillars in the middle of the courtyard to start the damage phase. Every totem you cleanse will give you 1 solar charge, so sometimes you may have to do this twice. The last solar charge you put into a pillar is where the damage phase starts from. Stay in the radius of that fire because the Biting Cold debuff comes back. Also, if you go outside of that radius, you'll see the boss, when you try to damage it, it will say immune. The boss will walk towards you and slam the ground to put out the fire. When this happens, you rotate to the next fire and the boss will walk there and put that out. And this is going to happen until all 4 fires are put out, and then the 6 blight eyes will reappear and you shoot them to restart the process till the boss is dead. So, couple tips. If possible, try to kill the Scorn bosses as close to the other totem that spawned, so the totem that drops on their death is in the radius of the other one. And because of that overlap, you can cleanse 2 totems at the same time. Tip number 2 is instead of everyone standing in the totems at the same time, which doesn't seem to cleanse it faster, do it kind of like a relay instead. One person waiting at the lamp, and when the teammate who's cleansing the totem steps off to get rid of their debuff, then you can step in to take over and continue cleansing the totem. And the third tip is when it comes to depositing the solar charges, we deposit the solar charges in the pillars in the back first, leaving either the front right or left to be where we start the damage phase. Since the boss walks towards you to put out the fire, go diagonally to make him walk a longer distance and get out more damage. So we kind of went front left, back right, back left, and then front right. Also, communicate with your teammates to make sure everyone is going to the same spot to do damage, because anyone can light the fire if you step into the radius. So if someone goes to the wrong place, that's 2 fires lit, and then that's waste. Finally, Encounter 3 is just like the others, but with 2 new mechanics. Look out for these taken puddles that randomly spawn. They'll slow you down and do damage. And with the amount of enemies running around, this can get you killed, so just shoot the bubbles when they appear. The second new mechanic is the Corruption debuff. 2 Scorn Torch enemies will spawn when it's time to cleanse the totems. The enemies are dark and can't be killed. If they hit you, they transfer the debuff to you, and it's a 15-second timer. Melee them to transfer the debuff back to them. Whoever is holding the debuff when the timer hits 0 dies. If you had the debuff when you died, sometimes it can instantly kill you again when you get revived also. So, start this encounter, shoot the taken bubble, and the boss will appear. Shoot the 6 taken blight eyes, and bosses will spawn, and then the totems will drop on their death and stand in them to cleanse them like the previous encounters. However, once cleansed, it will now go straight to the damage phase. So if you look at the health at the bottom, you'll see these highlighted segments. If you don't do enough damage to pass that, the eyes will reappear and restart the process. If you do enough damage to pass that segment, the boss will teleport to a different part of the arena. Once you go through 3 successful damage phases, you'll jump up to this section with floating platforms. Here, you can just do damage. One person can shoot the eyes if none of you are tanky and don't have a Warlock Rift. Eventually, the platform will fill with taken energy and you'll have to jump to the next one. After 3 platforms, you'll be teleported back to the first area to restart that rotation again. When you get the boss down to this last bit of health, you get teleported on top of a tower where a final stand will happen, so either you kill the boss or it will kill all of you. And that's the final encounter. As for tips, for this section, if you melee a corrupted enemy and the debuff isn't transferring, that means it's the other corrupted enemy you have to melee. It's normally 2 that spawns. In the case where you can't find that enemy fast enough and your timer is running out, what I did was just run to my teammate so I dive next to them and they could revive me quickly. Also, since enemies don't stop spawning, you can just farm them to get orbs to fill back up your super and get ammo if you have the special or heavy ammo finder mods equipped before you start the next damage phase. And yeah, that's it. That's how you beat all the encounters for Warlord's Ruin. If you found this helpful, you can leave a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.